back of the tablet.
Okay.
All right, the court is back in session in cause number 331-682. Prior to the court going into recess, Mr. Jacorian Hines entered a plea of no contest to these charges. He was sworn in. Mr. Hines, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. And on page 2 of this document, there's a set of initials JH that's on the line that's next to a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page, and just for the record, Mr. Boudreaux, you waived the record in this case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hines entered a plea of no contest, which is, and on page 2 of this document, his initials are on a line next to a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest. He acknowledged that that was his initials. On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Mr. Hines, did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, Mr. Hines, well, on this next document, Mr. Hines, this document is titled trial court certificate. Trial court certifications of defendant's right of appeal. Mr. Hines, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Mr. Hines, did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, Mr. Hines, there are a set of initials at the top. Well, at the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hines, I also have before me a document on paper that is titled Discovery Certification. Mr. Hines, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Mr. Hines, you also sign this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Hines, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct?
Yes, sir.
Knowledge.
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1 and State's Exhibit number 2. State, you like to offer States 1 and 2?
The state would, Your Honor.
Any objections, Mr. Boudreaux?
No, sir.
No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Boudreaux, you've advised and counseled Mr. Hines. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
Mr. Hines, your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hines, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you're mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers are freely and voluntarily given. I also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of state. Do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, we do.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for Mr. Hines to serve 60 days in the Jefferson County Jail. He should have credit for time served and will tax our entire court cost. This case will run concurrent with 331760, and we will be dismissing 331684 for forfeiture of the firearm.
Mr. Hines, the state is offering that you serve 60 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you would not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you've already served 60 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $327, but you would not have to pay the $327 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. The state will be, well, this case will run concurrent with cause number 331-760, and the state will be dismissing cause number 331-684 for forfeiture of the firearm. Mr. Hines, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Hines, I will move on to your next case, which is cause number 331-760. And in this case, Mr. Hines, the state has filed a motion, or has filed the information in this case. And this information alleges that on or about January 8th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of burglary of a vehicle. Mr. Hines, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Hines, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, you're pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charge?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Hines, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment. On page 2 of this document, there's a set of initials, JH, on a line next to a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest. Mr. Hines, did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hines, also on the next page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Mr. Hines, did you also sign this document?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hines, on the next document, I have before me this document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. There's a signature at the bottom of this document. Mr. Hines, did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
And this signature is above the line that's titled defendant. And Mr. Hines, at the top of this document, there are two boxes that are checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hines, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Mr. Hines, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Did you also sign this document?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hines, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct?
Yes,
To the
sir.
best of your knowledge? State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State 1?
The state would, Your Honor.
Any objections, Mr. Boudreaux?
Not at all.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Boudreaux, you've advised and counsel Mr. Hines. In this case, is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
And Mr. Hines, your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hines, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, you do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
It is for Mr. Hines to serve 60 days in the Jefferson County Jail with credit for time served and tax and retired court costs. It will run concurrent with 331682, and we will be dismissing 331684 for forfeiture of the weapon.
Okay, Mr. Hines, the state is offering that you serve 60 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you've already served 60 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case, Mr. Hines, is $327, but you will not have to pay the $327 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, you'll be given therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Also, in this case, Mr. Hines, this case will be running concurrent with cause number 331682, and the state will be dismissing cause number 331684 for forfeiture of the weapon. Mr. Hines, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hines, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Hines, we'll now proceed with your last case, which is cause number 331684. And in this case, Mr. Hines, you're charged with by information with the offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon. Mr. Boudreaux, the state has filed a motion in this case for forfeiture of the weapon. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have a copy of that motion with you?
It's somewhere, Judge. No, I don't have it with me.
Your Honor, I just realized I have failed to fill it out on the tablet and submit it. I'm doing that right now.
Well, actually, I think he had one that was already filled out because he had it in court this morning with the paperwork. Hold on, let's make sure that he didn't leave it here.
I looked for it, Judge. I didn't see it. So somehow maybe you just didn't